Hey, Tribe, and welcome back to the Nature Bay podcast with Coach Brandy. Today is November 3rd. It's election day, and I just want to send love and light for everyone who might be feeling a little strange or exhausted or drained or afraid today. And I'm thinking about everyone. I'm also thinking about myself. I want to talk about something a little different, though. I want to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is how thoughts become things. It's one of my sayings that I love to say. And Brooke Castillo, who is the founder of the Life Coach School, created this model of how the thoughts that we choose to think and believe um, turn into actions that reinforce the original thought. So, a little story, a little backstory. In January, I found out I was pregnant. And even before I found out I was pregnant, I was starting to gain a little weight. I had previously lost like 100 pounds doing keto and intermittent fasting. And I had begun to coach, keto and things like that. And so, yeah, I found out I was pregnant and I completely went crazy. I ate a lot of things that I hadn't eaten in years. Um, I was just completely out of my mind with food, right? So I found out about a month later that I was miscarrying. And I may have gained about 15 pounds during the duration of the pregnancy, but I really gained a lot of weight once I miscarried. I began to gain I mean, I must have gained like 35 pounds in 3 weeks, and I wasn't having any sickness, or cravings anymore, so I was reverting back to, strict, keto and intermittent fasting, but the the weight was just coming on, and the scale wasn't moving, or it was moving, it was moving up. And I remember thinking about myself like, oh my God, here I go again. I'm about to gain the weight again. I'm so inconsistent. Things don't work out for me. And then I started to go into, oh, it must be my genetics, my hormones. I can't help that I'm gaining weight. I'm doing everything right. Um, and then I went back to, I'm just like, I'm so fat. I'm such a failure. And so I was thinking those things, and then the feelings behind those thoughts or anxiety, sadness, depression, low self-esteem, low self-worth. I felt like, you know, I just felt down. I felt like I wasn't capable. I wasn't enough because I just can't keep the weight off. This is my second time gaining massive amounts of weight after losing a lot of weight, and I am just not a success. I am a failure. So those were the thoughts and the feelings that I was having, and the actions that followed those thoughts and feelings were I wanted to isolate myself. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to show up anywhere. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't What was the point? I wasn't losing weight. I didn't sleep well. I was not thinking, good thoughts about myself, and that just reinforced weight gain, and then the original thought of I'm a failure, I'm not consistent. It was a merry-go-round, and I rode that merry-go-round for at least 3 to 4 months. I was just on it, and I started to lose 5 pounds and gain 6, and then lose 3 and then gain 4, but it was just this consistent, like, cycle of being stuck and unhappy. And after I got tired of riding on the merry-go-round and just beating myself up, because as a life coach, I know the model, and I know that I get to choose my thoughts. I that concept has been introduced to me. And so I knew that it was available to me, but I just I chose not to believe it until I did. Until I said, "Well, what is it gonna hurt if I try to entertain another thought? What if I choose to believe the things that my husband, is saying about me? He loves me, he thinks I'm beautiful, he thinks I'm attractive. My children don't mistreat me or treat me differently because I gain weight. My parents didn't, mistreat me. My dog loves me. Um, if they can love me, you know, um, and they want to give all of these warm feelings to me, I want to give those feelings back to them, but I really can't because I don't feel that way about myself. So it's really hard to see life in, a positive aspect and to actually want to give love to people that you are not giving to yourself. So I began to focus on the things that I liked about myself. Like I like the fact that I'm a kind person. I like the fact that there are certain curves on my body, no matter how big or small my body is, that I always found attractive. I started to focus on those things. I started to focus on how important it is for me to sleep, you know, um, at least 8 hours a night. And if I wanted to sleep 8 hours a night, I needed to manage my stress. And so I started to find value in the things that were already inside of me and not place value on the things that I felt like I needed to be. How could I shift and concentrate on what I already was? Because I already am enough and I already am valuable. And it was when I started to focus on already being valuable that started to expand. And when that started to expand, I just developed a sense of confidence and self-worth outside of my pant size and outside of what the scale said. And I talked about this in another episode, but that is when the scale started to move. It started to go down. I was already feeling fine and sexy before the scale went down. And now that the scale has gone down, this has been about like 2 months since I've like decided to think different thoughts, and I've probably lost 20 pounds during that time, and I haven't even been checking for the weight loss. I am so in love with the fact that I get to choose, the fact that I choose myself, I get to go inward, I get to love myself. If I have a competing thought that is more on a negative scale, I get to I don't have to really just dismiss it. Well, I don't dismiss it because I wanna work through it, because negative thoughts are your best teachers. So, I get to simultaneously hold a more neutral or positive thought. So, for example, I am not consistent, I am a failure. What is my weight or my body trying to tell me? Um because my body is simply responding to the things that I am, exposing it to or what I'm putting into it, right? And is this a season for me not to be this size or not to compare myself to something that I was, right? How is that helping me? And then when I did a full, medical exam and found out that I am so healthy. I have perfect A1C. My blood sugar is great. My blood pressure is great. My cholesterol, all of my organ functions are all in the normal ranges. There is nothing that is out of whack. At 250 pounds, I am so healthy. That thought about me being so healthy made me feel confident, made me feel assured, made me feel, capable, and it made me feel like I was doing something right. And then, that m made me want to get out and walk more, and it made me wanna put healthy foods in my body because if my body is running, you know, at an optimal level, I don't want to put low vibrational foods in my body. No, I'm not eating sugar. I'm not going to put sugar in my tank. I don't put it in the gas tank and I don't put it in my tank. I'm not going to participate in anything that is going to lower or weaken my temple because I appreciate my body. At 250 pounds, I am confident that I don't have to be a small size to be a healthy person. I love the fact that I am healthy. I feel like I am going to live a long time, if God says the same. And that reinforces the thought that I am enough already. I do not have to be what the culture or society says, that I should be as far as my physical appearance. And guess what? The scale just be going down because I'm not attached to it. I'm not really tripping. So it's nice and it's cool because, I feel like if I can control my own thoughts and my own body and those things, that kind of permeates into every other aspect of life. It feels nice to know that the only thing that you can control is you, but I am perfectly excited and I'm happy and I'm in love with who I am right now. And I did that. I decided to look at myself with value as is, and I didn't wait for some other outcome, you know, to start valuing myself. And I mean, that's just what it is, that's kind of how we have to turn our thoughts into things. We get to choose and we get to decide, and we will not ever, we won't ever add value to something that we do not already value. If you don't already think that you deserve love and respect and kindness and appreciation and admiration, if you don't already do those things for yourself, um, you won't start doing them. You won't, no matter what you get by, you know, um, how you try to shape yourself or, what kind of hell you want to put yourself through, you're not going to value it. You're not going to value yourself until you just value who you are as is. So I hope that landed for you guys. I just wanted to come over here and just really let you all know that, hey, you are already enough. You were born whole. You have purpose, and there is nobody else like you. Nobody else with your fingerprints. That means that you are unique. You are your own personal snowflake, and you don't have to compare yourself to anyone, to tap into your greatness. So, if you guys want to connect with me, you can always reach me at Coach B, that is Coach BEE 84 on Instagram. I look forward to connecting with you all, and I hope this podcast episode finds you well. Have such a great day. Bye, everyone.